Hello there, Beppa. How you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. So, for the people watching, I know we've been talking about you a little bit in chat already, but who are you? What do you do? And what's your job in Anbennar?
So basically, I started out as a wiki chronicler when I first started. Um, I weirdly started on Canorian stuff when I
Yeah.
first did it. Just like randomly, we talked to Chrono and off topic, and I was like, sure, let's let me do a wiki page, and I started there until Aureus kind of like saw all this wiki stuff happening
Yeah.
and asked me because I was a huge Dwarven fan at the time to start chronicling there, and I started
Okay.
doing old pages and all that stuff.
Very nice.
And after that, I started redoing every single Dwarven Hold national ideas with lore and well, I didn't do the modifiers, but yeah, the lore, pretty much.
Okay.
So I started as a chronicler and started writing out of kind of nowhere, almost very spontaneously.
So it's basically doing that element of starting to write wiki pages and then just, oh, what you're doing is really nice. Come and do more, kind of
Pretty
deal.
much, yeah. Yeah.
Um, So I was told that you've done what, like 20 or so of the Dwarven Holds. Um,
I did most of them, like just pretty much at bar two, I think, or three.
oh wow,
I
that
think
is
so.
definitely most of them then.
Yes, and some are much larger than others. So
Right. I will say, in the Dwarva, obviously, you say you're a fan of the Dwarva. Come on, this is Anbennar. Everyone who knows Anbennar is a fan of the Dwarva because it's so cool. Um,
yeah,
but I will say, one of my favorite ideas for a Dwarven Hold, which doesn't yet have a mission tree or anything of the sort, is actually this one here, Gorbarad. The idea of volcano dwarves really, really hit something kind of cool
I
for me.
think I
What?
think you'll be very happy to hear is that the mission tree has been done and is in testing stage.
Oh, that is very nice. Okay, so I was recently talking about the fact that I was wanting to do dwarves in a multiplayer at some point. I think we have found the dwarves that I want to
yeah.
do. Did you write for
Um,
Gorbarad then? Was that
Idea set. I did some stuff and I did a lot of the page. But I believe Sternson did the vast majority of it.
okay? All right.
Um, but yeah,
Are they as cool as I've got as a
yeah.
thing in my head?
I think you'll enjoy them.
Oh, perfect. Love it. Um, I'm being asked for you to tell me about Tuad Dumancon.
Tuad Dumancon. So they were the hold that kind of like when the fall of Dwarvar happened, millennia ago, and Amaldir fell and the Serpent's Veil no longer like had food
Yeah.
for the entirety of the Dwarvar. They provided Serpent's Bloom, which is
Okay.
like this cave plants that are like really weird, and they kind of like supplied the entire East with it, and they started out like very poor until they started being like these incredible chefs and like decadence kind of nobility stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of their shtick, I guess.
So they
Um,
they fed the serpent spine while everyone was starving,
yeah,
and then they got
and they
overrun by
made like
orcs,
no, they got run over by hobgoblins actually, and
hobgoblins.
then
Right.
goblins.
All right. Right.
Yeah, orcs never conquered a hold in the Eastern Serpent Spine, I
Okay.
believe. It was mostly goblins and hobgoblins.
All right. Fair enough. Sorry, that base greenskins. I mean, they probably don't even have green skin. I come from a Warhammer
Those are the
background. It's the
caves.
same thing to me.
Oh yeah, yeah, I get it, I get
I know
it.
I'm wrong, but it's vibes, same vibes.
yeah,
So yeah, so that's they have this whole lore and backstory and everything about it. But at the start of the game, obviously, it's controlled by goblins that are under command control. Um,
hmm
Obviously, you can go and conquer this as I think either it's not Blackbeard Cartel, it's Axebellow
Axe Bellow.
Cartel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what is the driving force behind making such like a lot of lore. Obviously, you want to have that, but having mission trees and having like the future lore for a tag that is almost never going to happen unless it is, directly a player saying, I want to go and do this. Is there a different like process to making these kinds of tags rather than, the standard, Axbello is going to usually go into Hull as Krakazol? Do they have more priority than someone like Tuad Dumancon?
Um, I for this situation, I think it's more of the actual developer of a mission tree would be the one that's like concerned about that because of how hard it is to form it. For example, for
Right.
example, Velka Dromak is very hard to form. You
Yeah.
have to destroy the command, and they have really wacky stuff from that.
Yeah.
But really, it's mostly to the case of a mission tree maker for the difficulty and process of actually making the content for that. But for the lore, we wanted to have every single hold to actually have like content and stuff that they have special, so they're
Right.
not just like hold number two. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not
For sure.
just random guys.
See,
So it's a basis to an actual like further content rather than it being exactly just for EU4 gameplay. Because
right.
it also exists for the timeline before the Dwarven ever fell.
Right. So what is the process like deciding, okay, we have this hold here, let's say, I don't know, Gronstadt. Obviously, it looks like, it's the capital, I guess, hold of the East. What's the process to decide, what is this hold about? How do you go about deciding this is what this hold's deal is and coming up with the lore behind that?
So when I did ideas, or the remade ideas for this, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are very like assumed cases that, for example, like Rahen and Hellas were like civilizations by the time of like what's comparatively here like 4000 BC,
Yeah.
which wasn't the case, for example. And like ogres and hobgoblins roamed most of the surface around the Dwarvar, and it was like not even safe to even leave the Dwarvar at the time.
Mhm.
But these guys are very like they had like this weird these like very prosperous rise to power
Yeah.
as because of the region of the Jade Mines, right?
Yeah.
They had miners from every single place in the Dwarvar come there and get these insane like prosperity at the same time and made this hold into what it is. It's the second biggest hold in Dwarvar.
Yeah.
With the extension as well of Odujandris, which is a bit of a meme hold. But yeah, they are like they're the main rival, I guess, to the power of Amaldir from the beginning of the Empire.
Yeah.
They saved essentially the Eastern Dwarvar for a very long period of time.
Right.
So, like for example, the orcs never came there, but it's also a case for the Middle Serpent Spine dwarves, right?
Yeah.
So they're very much like creating their own identity from Aldwarov and remaking it their own image because they proclaimed themselves the successors of Aldwarov when it fell at
Yeah.
first.
So that it's a lot of the how you decide how a hold's story is based a lot on like its situation in its history, but like how do
Yeah.
you come up with the history as well? Like if there is a hold that doesn't have anything related to it, how do you decide? Okay, this is what we're gonna have this hold be. Like Hull as Krakazol, beer dwarves. Tuad
Yeah.
Dumancon is going to be the food dwarves. Verkal Dromak, the Underlake conspiracy theory dwarves. Like, how do you decide this is what this hold's deal is?
So the actual concepts on the holds since the start were made like ages ago, right?
Okay.
But they didn't have as much concrete stuff, and there's like more like random ideas, kind of like, we put it in. This is kind of funny. This is kind of weird. Let's put it in, and it'll be like 2 sentences of actual localization.
Okay.
So I was the one that was supposed to bring more flavor and more substance to every single niche of a dwarf of these
fleshing
holds,
it all out.
add more, yeah, and like giving culture and everything else, like to actually have it rather than just be a single thing. Like canon dwarves, for example, like Volcano said.
Yeah.
There's more to them now than just cannons.
Right.
So it's not one note, I guess.
Right. What would be your favorite then? Like, give us some examples of like some of your favorite dwarves that you've worked on, your favorite holds, your favorite like fleshing out.
And my favorite mission tree in the Dwarver is Hulas Krekazol, because how insane they are. And
I've
they
played them. Yeah, they are insane.
They are very much insane. And they have like these funny traditions where if you refuse to drink with them, they will start a fucking duel with you.
Yeah.
Because you actually like refused like such an honorable thing, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another one would be my favorite thematic wise would be Belka Skomdir, the guys that go to the Deep Woods.
Yes.
Because they have very much, for example, one of their ideas has one of the new ideas. I mean, is they do a lot of herbology, both with serpent spine flora and magical deep woods stuff.
Okay.
So they have like like proto medicine with weird magical shit.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said earlier that Gorbarad is something I'm interested in. Talk to me about Gorbarad. What's their deal other than being there's a volcano?
So, for Gorbarad specifically, is the origin of the volcano. Way under the hold, there's a dead fire giant.
Okay, I'm so sold. I'm so sold.
Which is part of the case why there's a volcano, and it's such like it's very volatile. Because for example, the fall of Gorbarad originally is that these guys were like hard as nails. Like these like alone they survived against the orcs for thousands of years until the volcano fucking erupted and basically ruined everything because how insane this fire giant energy is.
Right.
And this fire giant actually contributes to an undescribable rage for these dwarves because of how this fire giant is like not something very common or even it's such a high magical energy that it changes dwarves that lives there like fundamentally almost.
I feel like that's true for most of the dwarves. Like each of their cultures sort of changes them just slightly, based on like what gem or stone or whatever. They each have their own like personalities, in that kind of way.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of cases it's LARPing.
Yeah,
almost because they don't like some of these holds do not have actual descendants from them, right?
Yeah.
For example, Gorbarad, no descendants. Like, there's no way they could even get out. For example.
Yeah.
But for example, the service holds. Some of the service holds, minorities, for example, escaped. Like Shastundir or Olgalavar, they escaped to Bulwar.
Okay. Yeah.
There are also like gold dwarves and citrine dwarves from Segdir, Berkagulan that have minorities all around the Bulwar, which have extended influence among the humans as well. But so like you can conceivably like imagine there are descendants from these holds to actually like bring we're not just LARPing as like we're these guys from Silverforge. We're making like no, these guys is who we are. I guess.
I suppose that comes into it as well with the like adventurer companies like Axbello Cartel coming from Rajnahaga. They were a part of the Serpent Spine. They fled when it fell, and now it's time to go back.
Indeed.
But some not having it, getting that flavor, it definitely makes sense to have it. That it's a product of their environment.
Yes, exactly. So even with Hulax as well, right? Rahen is very populated with dwarves from the east, right?
Yeah.
Like almost like the vast majority of Kulachekazol and Grozumdir are in Rahen now. Like they didn't all die out; they are
Yeah.
actually all on Exodus pretty much.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of flavor. For example, Kulachekazol invites the Peridot dwarves from Rahen into Grozumdir
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So there's like a lot of like flavor that's not exactly seen because we can't have, for example, like Peridot culture
Yeah.
in Rahen, but we have minorities, but it doesn't exactly say what kind of dwarves they are or where they came from. But
Well,
it's in lore on the wiki and stuff like that.
clearly, these differences between dwarves are known to dwarves, but when they're out in the wider world, they just, they all just get lumped into, oh, you're just dwarves. You're all the same. You're just dwarves.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Well, at least in game, but we have
Yeah.
distinctions now in for the lore.
Right.
Some are less. For example, Orgullivar and Shasundir, the Marble dwarves, Kobold dwarves, there are very small amounts of minorities that escaped compared to Rahen and Kanor, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Very, very cool. So, all right. It's so difficult for me to just not say, all right, so tell me about this dwarf, because it's very tempting. I'm not gonna lie.
I have written every page. I am a self-proclaimed expert on these.
All right. An interesting one then is the first Serpent Spine lead was Hehodover, who then has a hold named after him. Oh, Hehodas. Hehodas, and yeah. Now it's Hehodovar is a hold that's named after him. Tell me, what is the deal with Hehodovar? What is their history? What is their situation? What's their lore?
I very much recommend their page because they have a very memey hold almost. They are primarily the engineering hold, right?
Okay.
They have done these huge feats of engineering. Like for example, like part of the, I think it was a student of Hechogrim, which is Hechodas technically, who made the first hold.
Okay.
It made the runic. Sorry, no, he made the labyrinth beside Verkos Komdir, which is like this like proto labyrinth, which then came into Verkos Komdir's like development as a to have this rune door and this like insane feats just everywhere. It's just scattered all around the Dwarvar, pretty much.
Okay.
Like for example, they have these celebrations called. Let me find the name of it again. But they had these like 1,000 years, 100 years celebration or something like that, where they made very stupid and weird feats in their hold. For example, they flooded an entire section of the hold to have a Venice kind of thing.
Okay.
Groundbreaker Day, thank you. Other times they decided to cut off all their beards, like, and which made them like hated among the dwarves because
I
they're
can
like,
imagine.
what the fuck are you absolutely doing? So they're very much of like this weird king came into power, and in this celebration they did the stupidest things imaginable, pretty much.
Yeah, cutting off your beard as a dwarf definitely seems to be up there in stupid. Definitely.
Yeah.
Do they have a mission tree yet, or is one in the works?
Neither or. There have been attempts which were unsuccessful.
Okay.
With like random stuff happening, IRL issues or not wanting to go on with the mission tree because it is like quite a huge commitment to do such a thing.
Yeah.
So this one not particularly.
Okay.
Although I can tell you ones that have been made since the update. So Hara's Orldum and beside Kugdir, for example, those were made recently and pretty much fully tested. I don't think I have tested them themselves myself even. So they have themes of. Wait, do you have Mithril in this game? Oh my god. They have themes of. They used to have slavery in their hold, which was actually very not very looked down upon across every dwarf because it's just, like they were the only ones that have ever done this, and so they had death slavery of dwarves, and they also enslaved goblins at the time.
Right.
But their influence of being like such, they had a very big nobility, very famous and powerful nobility, which kind of made them immune almost to like the pushback from other dwarves that really didn't like their slavery practices. Because, for example, a lot of the high kings of Aldwarov came from that hold.
Yeah.
So it had huge influence across the entirety of Dwarvar,
Right.
which had this like grasp on the entire empire. But otherwise, their mission tree is they they do a lot of slavery at first with orcs and goblins at first, but then you have the thing is, I think you have choices to enslave either or,
right.
And then you expand it upon into ogres, kobolds, and trolls as well.
Okay.
And so it so instead of actually murdering every guys, you have a slightly not better option. It's not really wholesome or anything.
Yeah.
But it's different. Some people would say it's better. I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm not sure if I can make a decision on
I
whether
think
that's
exactly
better or worse.
But it's always a choice for
to
enslave these guys. It's nothing you have to do.
Also a choice whether you form them or go down the other, because it is a very dense region for Dwarven Hold, so you've got quite a lot of options. Yeah. So who else then?
I think so. Gorbarad is another one.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Durvasatun, I don't think it's in the actual update. It's only in the butt bucket. Gorbarad itself. Gorbarad, just to explain what they do really, is that they create a ginormous lava river across the Serpent Reach.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm so sold. I'm so sold.
So, I mean, I don't want to obviously spoil the entire mission tree, but I want to just highlight some major key points, because even though I'm a reviewer for a lot of the mission trees, I don't want to spoil myself the actual gameplay of them either.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, they have that. They're very isolationist compared to a lot of dwarves, which they don't really want allies or anything like that. They have a very staunch like trade policy, very inward focused compared to like of a lot of them, which are like very outward focused.
Yeah.
But yeah, Durvatatun, for example, these are the far north.
Yeah.
Right below Kraktenvor, for example. These guys have a huge observatory to the astral, which is space.
Yeah.
in our world. But space is not the same, because if you stare long enough and observe long enough, you literally go crazy because of these like cosmic powers that are in it. Because, like, for example, the precursor elves went into space, but they didn't make spaceships. They made teleporters into other planets.
Okay,
so
that's a way to do it, I guess.
The actual like space between planets is not the same as in real world.
Right.
It's very cosmic, eldritch horror stuff like that, I guess. So Durvasatun has a lot of things that are investigating it and have a lot of cosmic horror elements in their storytelling.
Right, that's cool. I'm a big fan of like that kind of Cthulhu-esque cosmic horror stuff. That vibes with me quite a lot. Not as much as Volcano dwarves, especially as I've got Thorfilindel in chat saying lava dwarves got their own subsystem because their lava river ID was too cool for me to deny.
Yeah.
Look, you can't sell me any harder on these. It's done. I've chosen.
Actually, this is a very funny story. So part of the national idea set in Gorbarad is that they have this duel called the Borbordus, which is a duel over lava, over a lava river.
Nice.
So, for example, if you they'd be on platforms above a lake of magma, almost like Duel of the Fates, in
Yeah,
Star
yeah.
Wars.
Oh, I'm
So
so
you can always
sold.
imagine that.
Oh,
And we had a imaginary one like this in the actual Discord because there were 3 people, I believe, that wanted to make a mission tree for this tag,
yeah,
and there were we had 3 proposals at once,
right.
and they were judged as if this was like a duel of this. So a lot of this duel stuff is actually referenced
Oh,
in
that's
the writing
perfect. I love it. I love
and
it
in the
so
wiki
much.
page.
I'm so annoyed right now that Blackbeard Cartel is just sitting on Gorbarad and they're not doing anything. Just like, please start colonizing. Form this tag. I don't even care. Just do it. I need to see. I just
Yeah,
need it.
I don't think the mission tree is in this specific fork
I
because of
don't
the
care.
mission tree, the multiplayer stuff. But yeah,
The
um,
ideas would be though, right?
the ideas are
And the flag, and I'm
yeah.
so
The
into it
flag the flag
already.
is very nice.
So into it already.
It
Um,
is a very cool flag.
but yeah, okay. So, um, just so that we're not talking about holds for another hour, what is
Mhm.
your favorite hold? And do you have any special recommendations that aren't ones that we've already spoken about, so that we can check those out?
My favorite hold thematically
Yeah.
is Relkos Comdir.
Okay.
I I like their because they're very odd and superstitious and have these like because of their influence with the deep woods, for example, they have become like paranoid and isolationist almost, and
Hmm.
their ideas of rangers in the deep woods, like dwarf rangers. If you know, like Warhammer,
Yeah.
Bugman's Rangers or whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of like the theme of that as well,
Yeah. For sure.
and their herbology and very like almost mystic view, like
Yeah.
sorry, like, almost like mystic mix with the deep woods and the dwarf, which I really like.
You gotta embrace the
Yeah.
weird a little bit to fight the weird.
Yes, I'd say so. Yeah.
All right.
And what was the thing? The recommendation of
Yeah, someone to check out. A
for the
hold.
next update, I'd really recommend Haraz Orldum
Okay.
because they have. I'll just say this: enhanced horde curse.
Oh, you know what? I think I'll pass on that one.
It is genuinely more fun than normal horde curse, I'd say, and you get better bonuses if you complete it.
Slavery fueled horde curse. I mean, you get what you deserve.
You do,
Clearly.
you really do. It is. So my last run, I had 650k rebels from it,
Oh,
from one event.
goddamn. Okay.
And
Hope
I think it's very funny.
you get
It's definitely
that
doable.
later on in the game then, rather than right at the start.
Oh yeah, of course. It's horde curse, right? So yeah, you get it at the same time. But it's a very reflavored horde curse. Like for example, the normal horde curse, it's also reflavored in general.
Okay.
Like the whole basic stuff. So it is a very unique experience.
All right. Well, that sounds horrifying. I look forward to getting other people in multiplayer to help me out with that.
Yeah, I think you will need some
Yeah.
help.
But anyway, I will let you go then. Thank you very much for talking to me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, you
Dwarves.
listen
I
to my
mean,
rants.
I could for a long time. That's for sure. But yeah, that's it's been an absolute pleasure. Love
Yeah, yeah.
me some dwarves. And
Mhm.
what is it you're working on next? What's your next project?
Currently, it's mostly writing, but I am also for like not for this update, but for the next update, I am working for the Vrelkal Kozanad mission tree,
Okay, nice.
which I'm kind of trying to keep secret a bit.
Okay,
Not
I won't ask
very
about it too much then.
yeah, because their themes are weird, but yeah.
I look forward to it then. All right. Well, thank you very much for chatting with me, and yeah, I
Yeah.
wish you the very best of luck.
All right, thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much
much.
for having me.
No problem. Toodaloo. Uh, I honestly could ask him like Tell me about this hold. Okay, move on to the next one. Tell me about this hold. Like, it could literally be all day, and I would be so happy. But I gotta keep it succinct. I've got to move on to other things as well. But yeah, definitely thoroughly enjoyed that.